Boom. The CS2 update that ruins some stuff. Where?
It being early days for Counter-Strike 2, lots of updates are expected, and I don't see the point in covering all the changes that most people haven't even had the chance to experience yet already. I remember the early days of Counter-Strike Source had a distinctive look to it, because character models all looked like they were leaning forward and down the scopes of their weapons. This was soon changed to make them appear like they were standing upright, but to this day I still associate leany character models with old and OG footage of that game. I'm saying this because I'm sure today's version of Counter-Strike 2 will later on have telltale signs that it's early stuff. Things like wrongly coloured smoke grenades and these weird halos around characters will forever be signs of very early footage, because these things have already been fixed. Now these are just superficial things, but the latest update has changed several things that will significantly impact players of this game from now on. They've disabled some console commands which made players visible through walls, because of course they were going to do this. It literally gave you wall hacks even in competitive matches.
And they added a new one. Bro, there's currently another wall hack that's still working.
I don't think I need to explain why this was disabled. The question is, why was it enabled in the first place? And the answer to that is probably something really dull, like 5 years ago they added the command to help debug Half-Life Alyx. The impact it might have on future games probably wasn't even a consideration at the time. But this is why betas exist, and Valve caught this one early enough to prevent real damage from being done. But with it, they've also disabled a lot of other console commands. Commands like bot kick, bot add, and get pause.
The fuck?
Players might not care so much about these, but I regularly use these features when I'm making my videos. I can work around a lot of these new constraints, it will just be added inconvenience. Get pause, for instance, was handy to remember my position in a level to get perfectly aligned before and after screenshots. Yes, that's how I did it. But that command is literally gone, yet set pause remains. So for now, I can still work around this feature by returning to CSGO, getting the positions I want, and then inputting them back into CS2 again. But why should I have to do that? It's ridiculous. So please, Valve, add these commands back when cheats are enabled.
It's back. Stop trolling, guys. Stop trolling!
And it would make my life much easier.
Please.
Another update that breaks my heart, and most of my binds, is multiple actions cannot be bound to one key. I've tested this and you can still bind the purchase of a T and CT version of the same weapon with a single button. For instance, you could buy an AK as terrorist and an M for a CT using the same button bind. But that's about the extent of it. If you want a single button to buy a weapon and a grenade, then you're out of luck, because only the first command now seems to work. Why would they do this? I would guess it's because Valve doesn't want to encourage advanced binds that may give players using them an advantage. You should be running about...
I think that's good, no? Like they're trying to make everything... how do you say it? It's back. Stop trolling, please. They're trying to make everything that when somebody joins the game... Hear me out. That when somebody joins the game, that they all have even playing fields, kinda, you know? There are no jump bites that you have to know about. You just press... jump and left click. Boom, that's a jump bind. Smokes are more easy. Like, you don't have to have the perfect alignment like a hinge smoke. You get away with a lot more with the new smokes because they fill out a lot more space and so on. It's much more beginner friendly. That is true, but it will still stay at the high level of play, absolutely competitive, right? Something like walking on the minimap, that seeing how much the enemies can hear, that doesn't matter to somebody like Twists. They all know it, you know? It just matters for casuals. It's a nicer entry for noobs. Is that a bad thing? I don't know. Valorant does things amazingly at converting, like at getting new people in. And keeping them in. I don't know. And things like CSGO, you boot it up for the first time, like, Jesus. I don't know, man. I think for the game to grow, it's amazing. If you are hooked to the game, if you are level 10, you may hate it, but it is what it is. I don't know. I think in the overall, it will grow the game tremendously. The game is much nicer, much friendlier to people coming in. I don't know.
At the map, flailing your mouse around, not sitting in the console and preparing elaborate jump throw binds in advance.
Yeah.
Check out this as an example of some of the setups that players are using. I suspect that some of these are things that Valve is trying to prevent.
Monte Bravo. Oh, we will check after the video.
They've just disabled a whole lot of other ones as well. Blanket disabling everything like this is going to cause lots of collateral damage. It means you can't have a single button to enable cheats, to enable warm-up mode, to set it to unlimited duration, to kick bots, and to turn no clip on, which was my go-to bind when starting out on many of my videos. Now I'll need to allocate a series of keys that I press in order to reach the same outcome. So I can still do it, it just takes more clicks. pay to win for people with bigger keyboards and more buttons and fewer physical disabilities. But yeah, for me, it's something I want to moan about because I use these commands in ways that don't impact any other players, and disabling these things will simply make my life harder. So I'm hoping that this is a short-sighted knee-jerk reaction from Valve and that they'll either revert some of these changes very soon, or they'll come back with a new, improved system for all. But the current system is going to leave a lot of people unhappy. I'm not just going to read out with patch notes because a lot of them seem fairly straightforward. For Bez the Bot Whisperer, I'll say that he's very sad that they're bringing radio restrictions back. It meant a lot to him to be able to use all voice commands for all game modes, especially with the custom agents who had a lot of custom voice lines. There are enough of these that he could use them instead of having to talk to his teammates. And he feels that restricting the voice lines is another step towards the game being only for competitive play and for few other things.
This is a great time!
There is a new sound when you've successfully jumped thrown a grenade. If you throw it at any point as you're climbing up in your jump, your character will go, "Ugh."
Hey, yo! 3 clicks! Jesus! I did not expect that. Reminds me of the tweet that I posted today, bro. Because this is how Agent Ava sounds like when you jump throw in CSGO. Which is pretty fucking sick, bro, not gonna lie.
Grenade will land in the exact same place every time, for consistency. So if you hear a sound from your character, that means you've triggered the reliable, consistent kind of grenade throw. Sometimes it sounds like Other
Sorry to all the bloods in the chat who had it on the TV and the family is around. It is what it is.
times, it doesn't matter. It's all just there to inform you and nobody else on the server can hear it. It's only on the jump's descent that the distance your grenade will travel will change again. My recent video where I stacked people on top of each other awakened something in the Counter-Strike community, and you've all been very sad that this update has disabled these ragdoll collisions. It is sad, but don't worry, you can still stack people on top of each other, just not in proper online play.
Okay.
So this update has only returned it to how it was in CSGO, where fallen characters don't stack on top of each other by default, but if you spawn ragdolls, they still will. So fans of people stacking can continue to get their kicks elsewhere. Why has this change been made? I would assume to improve visibility by keeping fallen bodies at ground level instead of potentially stacking into a sight-blocking wall of some sort. But I guess it also keeps the load lighter for players' computers. From my testing, the physics in this game are very well optimized and can handle stuff hundreds of times more complex than the simple body stacking you'd expect to see in competitive play. But every little helps, I guess, and you just know there will be thousands of people on potato systems where even the slightest increase to system requirements could spell the end of their playable experience. So that's a few of the new updates to Counter-Strike 2. A lot of them make sense, but a few are catastrophic. Valve, please fix.
Fix voice scale, please. The victims of Counter-Strike 2. What?
So,